I've mentioned about this before. I mentioned this in situations of sleep paralysis. I've done a couple of videos on that, a couple of videos on how to deal with witchcraft hexes, curses, and how to deal with the whole alien abduction phenomenon whenever it's a very, very negative, and I mean extremely negative experience. Now, this is just my theory of what I honestly think is going on. Judging from my own experience, of my many years of it, what I noticed a lot was the fact that it heavily relied on my fear. Like it needed my fear in order not only to take control of me in any type of situation, whether I was awake, asleep, whatever that person's situation is, especially when you're asleep. And then you wake up and you feel that someone's in the room, and the whole scenario of that kind of thing. The thing that I noticed all the time was, without my fear, it doesn't really do much. There was times like when I was at my worst of being attacked in my room. What I noticed big time was when I used to come home drunk from the bar, and I would go and sit down on my recliner and fall asleep, because I usually do that. I noticed that nothing really happens, because alcohol, it calms your nerves. It makes you brave or whatever. Now, if this thing is so extremely superior to us, these aliens or goblins, elves, the list goes on and on of different variations of what's actually attacking you. If they're more powerful than you, I think they just want you to think that. Like you're completely helpless, like you need help from something else, which, if you want to do that, praying and being religious, that's your thing if you want to do that. Now, why didn't it mess with me when I was drunk and I was calm and brave? Like it needed my fear in order to fuck with me. Now, what they usually do is, once the arousal of fear happens and you feel paranoid and you feel like something's about to happen, and most likely something will, not only do they scare you and you go through this whole terrifying event, especially if it's abduction, they take the essence of your fear. They feed off of it and they collect it. And as they collect it, they go to the next victim. Or they keep messing with you until they got enough from you. And then you end up either dead from fright, or you end up crazy and end up in the mental hospital, or you end up, I don't know, doing something. They make your life a living hell, and they collect all that misery and all that suffering. When they go to the next victim, what happens is, whenever you feel that level of fear, that level of hopelessness, it's not the feeling of evil that's happening to you during these sleep paralysis situations, or these alien encounters, whatever the situation might be. They don't necessarily give a demonic vibe or whatever. It's not demonic, even though it is associated with evil, diabolical evil. What you're feeling is all the negativity of fear, misery, hopelessness, all at once from past victims. And you're feeling that, and then your arousal of fear activates, and then you feel helpless as you're feeling all these negative vibes from this creature. It's not from him. It's from what he has. And what he has is all the negativity that all the energy, the negative energy that he's been collecting from hundreds of victims or thousands of victims, whatever the case may be, and that's a lot. Now, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of, this is going to sound crazy, but for those of you who have seen that cartoon Monsters, Inc., which was a funny movie, by the way, I liked it a lot. When these monsters will come and scare the kids, and they would scream because they need them to be so scared. They have to be scared so they could scream in terror. And as they scream, they collect all the screams, and they use it as a power, a source of energy. And then they move on to the next victim, the next kid, and they collect it. And there's a big factory, and when they have all these screams that they collect, and they use it for their own agenda, for their own reasons or whatever whatsoever. Now, I compare it to that in a sense. It's kind of similar to that. And then after they collect these the negativity from the victims, they move on to the next. And what you're really feeling as you're being confronted, and even when you see the creature, and it becomes more terrifying, the negative energy that you're feeling is not the alien energy or the so-called demonic creature energy. It's the energy of all the negativity from past victims. Now, it's negative because it deals with fear, hopelessness, paranoia, whatever you want, all that at once. But the thing is, it's human energy. It may be negative energy, yeah, and is associated with evil from the creature, yeah, but it's human energy. Not demonic energy, not evil energy like the way a lot of people would think of it to be, or especially religious people. It's not evil energy, it's negative energy from past victims, human negative energy that's collected by the hundreds, by the thousands, or goodness knows from how many. And that's why you feel overwhelmed, and that's why you feel helpless. Now, this is just my opinion. This is what I came to the conclusion of, judging from my own experience, because once I started to get brave and I started to fight back, the less and less these beings started to mess with me, the less they messed with me. And of course, that other thing that happened too, having to do with this malevolent alien race, which I call are from Andromeda. The ones that look like Shaolin monks because they're bald-headed and they're very tall, and they have light blue skin, and their outfits and stuff like that. What they did to help me, which I'm extremely grateful. Now, that's what actually happens, and this is just my opinion. But I think my opinion on this is actually profound. Because if it is negative energy from humans, which I do believe it is, it's from humans, which means you can build a tolerance to it. You should embrace it because it's part of human energy. Just have control over it. That's all. It takes practice, because that's how I kind of did it. Because when a point came where I had enough, I started to fight back. I learned how to control my fear. But it took a while. And it took a great number of supernatural attacks, or whatever you want to call it. That's what ended up happening. That's like a very profound thing. You can use that type of energy to your advantage, because they stole it from other victims. They stole it from them. You could steal it back. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And this is Dare to Speak. And to all of you, take care.